Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome to another edition of Teed Up. I'm David.
I'm Justin.
As always, we appreciate you tuning in. We hope everyone's doing well. Hope everyone's staying safe. So we're gonna talk about a lot today. We're gonna talk about some of our season predictions, and we're gonna go over some young talent and upcoming free agency. But before we get into that, I want to shout out our brand that Justin and I both love. It's B-Ball Empire. Basically, they mix streetwear and basketball attire into one. So not only can you wear it on the court, you can wear it off the court. And it's a great brand. They have shirts, hoodies, hats, phone cases, everything. And we have a discount for you. Use the code TEEDUP30. You get 30% off your first order at checkout. That is TDUP30. So we'll put the link in the description for that, but let's get into this. So Justin and I were talking off camera about some of the young talent, specifically some of the young point guards that we have. And a lot of times on social media, you have the game start, bench, cut. And we thought of three players that we could use in this. That is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, De'Aaron Fox, and Ja Morant. All three young guards, all are doing tremendous in their careers so far, in their young careers.
Very talented.
Very
talented.
Very talented. So fun to watch, too. So I'm wondering, Justin, who would you start, bench, and cut out of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander of the Oklahoma City Thunder, De'Aaron Fox of the Sacramento Kings, and Ja Morant of the Memphis Grizzlies?
All right. So obviously, I'm going with. I think it's obvious. I'm going to go with Ja Morant as my starting point guard. I think his all-around explosiveness. He can finish. He can pass. He can shoot. He can play defense. He can do just about everything you need. And he's leading right now. He's leading a pretty bad Grizzlies team to the playoffs, right? As of now, at least, he's in the playoff spots. So I think what he's done so far is pretty incredible. And unlike De'Aaron Fox, he has them in a playoff position. So I think I got to give it to him. And then next, I think I'd have to go with, again, not De'Aaron Fox. I'd go with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I mean, he just has it. I feel like there's something special about him. He has his all-around game. He's learning from a great mentor in CP3 there. He's just leading again on a good team. He's in a playoff position. He's got his team to the playoffs where De'Aaron Fox still hasn't made the playoffs yet. He's still young, but he hasn't made the playoffs yet. He doesn't have any experience there. So I got to give it to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander there. And then finally, I'd have De'Aaron Fox as my cut. I mean, I really like De'Aaron Fox's game. This isn't a knock on him, but he hasn't gotten his team anywhere. So I just can't give him any higher. I can't put him any higher up. I got to give it to Ja Morant and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. They got to be my top two.
Yeah, mine's pretty much the exact opposite. I completely disagree. One thing about you said Shai Gilgeous-Alexander leading his team to the playoffs. Was that him or was that Chris Paul? Was that him or was that Chris Paul and Steven Adams? I mean, I don't think Shai
Gilgeous-Alexander. Their
Gilgeous-Alexander.
second best player. Easily their second best player.
No,
Mm-hmm.
not at all. Chris Paul is their best player, and then their second best player is Steven Adams.
I do not think so. I mean, Shai's putting up 19 points, has 6 rebounds, 3 assists. He's clearly contributing on all ends of the floor.
He's contributing, but he's not the second best player on that Thunder team.
Over a steal, over half a block compared to a guy like Steven Adams. Who, I mean, Steven Adams is a great player, but his stats are not the same when you look at him. I mean, Steven Adams. Yeah,
you're comparing a point guard to a center.
He's only averaging 10 points per game and 9 rebounds. He's averaging 3 more rebounds. He's averaging less assists, less steals, but yet Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is averaging 9 more points per game.
You can't compare a point guard to a center.
Yeah, you can. You just did.
You absolutely cannot. I'm saying who's the best. You could compare them as far as who's the best player on the team, which I think first is Chris Paul and the second is Steven Adams. But for me, what I'm going to say is I'm going to start De'Aaron Fox. I'm going to bench Ja Morant, and I'm going to cut Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Fox is the most experienced out of all of them. Sure, he hasn't made the playoffs, but he has the most experience. And if you put him on a team that's not as badly run as Sacramento, he will make the playoffs, and he will be the X factor for you on that playoff team. Now, I would have Ja Morant come off the bench, obviously, because, what has been said what has not been said that has been said already. You know, obviously he's an amazing player. Obviously he led Memphis into that playoff spot, but I just don't think that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is on the same level as John Morant or De'Aaron Fox.
I mean, when you look at it here, you made a comment that Shai doesn't contribute to the Thunder, but he's their leading points per game
No, he's
scorer.
not the point guard that's going to lead you into a deep playoff run.
He's got 19 points per game, and he's not the highest usage rate player on this team, and it's Chris Paul. Chris Paul's only averaging 17 points with 4 rebounds,
What
6
is that? Just
assists.
everything? Is points just everything?
I mean, clearly he's making more of an impact on the offensive end.
And Chris Paul?
Yeah.
Have you watched the NBA for the past decade?
Yeah, it's not the same thing though.
What are you talking about? Chris Paul is he's an amazing playmaker. He's an amazing passer. What are you talking about? He doesn't contribute on offense.
Shai is putting more. He's giving them more this year than Chris Paul is.
And why isn't he starting over Chris Paul?
Because Shai is playing shooting guard. Shai has been more valuable.
Yeah, but Chris Paul is easily a much better passer, much better playmaker than Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Yeah, he is, but that doesn't mean he's not more valuable to the team. He's clearly putting up better numbers.
Numbers aren't everything. Numbers
don't lie. Numbers don't lie.
Sometimes they do.
No, they don't.
Whatever. Let us know what you think. Who would you start? Who would you bench? Who would you cut out of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, De'Aaron Fox, or John Morant? So with that out of the way, what we were going to do is we were going to predict how each team in the playoffs would do, how far they would go. So we're going to go round by round for both conferences, and we're going to predict who will make it far and who could get upset. So in the East for the first round, you have the 1-seeded Bucks taking on the 8-seeded Magic. You have the 2nd-seeded Raptors taking on the 7th-seeded Nets. You have the 3rd-seeded Celtics playing the 6th-seeded 76ers. The 4th-seeded Miami Heat playing the 5th-seeded Pacers. For the West, for the first round, you have the 1st-seeded Lakers playing the 8th-seeded Grizzlies. You have the 2nd-seeded Clippers playing the 7th-seeded Mavericks. You have the Nuggets, who were the 3rd seed, playing the Rockets, who were the 6th seed, and then you have the Jazz, who were the 4th seed, playing the 5th-seeded Thunder. So, Justin, who do you think would win on the East for each team? Or let's just go by game by game, and you can give your opinion, and I'll give mine.
So first, I have the Bucks playing the Magic. I think that is an obvious one.
Obviously.
I don't even think I need to say it's the Bucks. I mean, clearly they're the better team there.
It's the Bucks. Had the season not been suspended, they would have gotten close to winning 70 games. They were on pace to, and I think I have them. I had the Bucks winning 4-0, a clean sweep. I don't even think the Magic can get a game in there, personally.
They may be able to squeeze one, but there's no way they win more than one. No chance they win more than one.
So there's no reason.
Even if Giannis got hurt, they wouldn't win more than one game because that Bucks team is deep.
Absolutely. So we're not going to spend too much time on that. Raptors and Nets. I have the Raptors winning.
Me too. I mean, unless somehow KD comes back, I don't think the Nets give them much of a fight.
I doubt it. Even if Kyrie comes back, I mean, Kyrie has had injury problems this year, and I don't think maybe.
Well, they played better without Kyrie, so.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Maybe if Kyrie is injured, they could play better. Like, I think they could steal a game to the Nets. Like, I have the Raptors winning 4-1, so I think the Nets can steal a game, but I don't think they could win an entire series over this super hot Raptors team. You know, you got Pascal Siakam, Serge Ibaka, Marcus Gasol's been hurt, Kyle Lowry.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, this is where it gets interesting. The Celtics versus the Sixers. Who do you have winning that series?
I have to give it to the Sixers. I mean, the regular season proved it. The Sixers beat them 3 out of 4 times. The Sixers would beat them again. I mean, they did it in the regular season. They'll do it again in the postseason. They just got their number. They got the height advantage over them.
I'm a diehard Sixers fan.
Mm-hmm.
This season has been such a struggle, and I really can't see the Sixers making it out of the first round with how terribly coached they are, how beat up that they are. I got to give it to the Celtics, and I have the Celtics winning in 7.
The Sixers would beat them. I mean, they beat them 3 out of 4 times,
Yeah, but that's the
twice,
regular season.
once in Boston. No,
It's,
it's not. It's the
it's
same
the
thing.
regular season.
Mm,
It's
the
the
same
regular
thing.
season. The playoffs is a whole
It's a
different
different. This is a
animal.
different Celtics team. They have no height whatsoever. They're all small. The Sixers would lock them up with ease. They just like did in the regular season. I
Yeah,
mean,
but
the
what if
Celtics can't
but what if
compete with a big team like that.
What if Joel Embiid has his injury problems? You saw it last year he went out for diarrhea and then he had more problems with his knees.
He's not
He was
going
just
to. Clearly he's
How do
healthy
you know
now. He's
that?
going to stay healthy because we're going off of this. I mean, you don't know
He's
it,
been
but
injured the past 2 playoff
we're saying
appearances.
they're healthy for this. I mean, it's a what if, so he's healthy. There's no what if he's not. This is a what if, assuming they're all healthy.
I mean, even when healthy, this Sixers team is so badly coached. Brett Brown is a terrible coach. I got to
He's
give it
not a
to the
terrible
Celtics. You
coach.
got
He's a
Brad
very good
Stevens.
coach.
No, he's a terrible coach. What are you talking about?
He's a good coach.
Why do you think Jimmy Butler left?
Because he hates Ben Simmons. Ben
No, he
Simmons
doesn't
and
hate
him
Ben
both need the
Simmons.
ball
What do
in
you?
their
No,
hands.
no, he hates Brett
And he wanted to
Brown.
go to Miami. No, he
No,
doesn't
the
hate Brett
Sixers do
Brown.
not have a direction. They do not have a direction because they're so terribly coached. They have all the talent there. They have the best center in the league. They have Ben Simmons, who's a top 7-point guard. They got Jay Rich, who's an amazing two-way player.
Now you're just overhyping him.
They used Al
Jay Rich
Horford.
is just average.
No, he's not.
Al Horford's
He's an amazing
overrated.
young talent.
The Sixers got screwed over by Brett Brown. I mean, not Brett Brown, Elton Brand. Elton Brand screwed this
It
team
was not
over.
Elton Brand. He's the one that made this team where they are today.
No, he screwed it
He
all
traded for
up.
Tobias Harris. He traded for
Terrible
Jimmy Butler.
trade.
Obviously, Jimmy Butler left, but without him, we probably would still be losing probably would still be like where we are,
He
honestly.
gave us a team of all tall guys that replicate himself as a player by signing a guy like Al Horford. He didn't care about this new era of the NBA. He didn't give the team any shooters to help them. He put a team of guys that would win if this was the 70s, this team would be unstoppable, but it's not. It's 2020 now. Elton Brand didn't realize that. He's still stuck in the 70s, so he built a team to win in the 70s, not a team to win in the 2020 era. That's the problem with the Sixers. They have no shooters, and you need shooters to win in today's game.
Yeah,
But in a series against a team like the Celtics, the Sixers would win because they have the height advantage between Al Horford. You got Al Horford back in Boston wanting to make a statement. You got Joel Embiid, and they're going up against the worst big man combo in the league. You got Daniel Tice, garbage, and you got who's the other guys? Enes Kanter. Enes Kanter can't play defense to save his life. That's barbecue chicken in the paint for Joel Embiid. He's going to be eating all day.
What about Jason Tatum and the tremendous year he's
Jason
having?
Tatum.
Jason Tatum's going to
Ben
light this.
Simmons will
Jason
lock
Tatum's
him
going to
up.
light us up.
Ben Simmons will be able to lock him up. Ben Simmons can guard 1 through
Absolutely.
5. Dude, people are shooting 40% against him. He's played All-Stars. He's played Kawhi, shut Kawhi down. Played Jimmy Butler, shut Jimmy Butler down. He's shut everybody down
But
that
again,
he's going up against.
it's the playoffs. It's an entire different breed.
Ben Simmons is a very good defender, and he'd be able to do it.
Doubt it. So you have the Sixers winning in how many games?
6.
I have the Celtics winning in 7. I think it's going to be a close series. At least we can agree on that. It's going to be a tight series. It's definitely going to be neck and neck. I mean, obviously, it's a great rivalry, Sixers and Celtics. So, okay. So next we have the 3rd-seeded Miami Heat versus the 6th-seeded Pacers, or excuse me, I might have gotten the seeds wrong, but whatever. The Heat and Pacers. I got Miami winning this series.
4 and 5.
4 and 5. Excuse me. Sorry about that.
Mm-hmm.
I got Miami winning. They exceeded my expectations this year. I really thought that they were going to be, 6, 7 seed, but Jimmy Butler proved me wrong. I got Miami winning in 6.
I got Miami in 5. I mean, the Pacers just don't have it yet. They're not there yet. I think the Pacers need a little bit more time to develop. Victor Oladipo missed a lot of time, and the Pacers actually played worse when he came back. I mean, Oladipo's a great player, but they just didn't have the fit down. So assuming that's the team that's going into the playoffs, I just don't think they even have a chance against the Heat team that's been pretty good in Miami, especially when they play in Miami. So I'd have to give it to the Heat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree. Again, like you said, I think that Pacers team is just way too young. Victor Oladipo has had his injury problems. And if the Pacers want to stay being a powerhouse in the East. Well, they're not really a powerhouse, but they're always there in the playoff space. They got to keep Victor Oladipo. We went in with this last episode talking about, his contract and how he was insulted. But Victor Oladipo's got to stay healthy, and also the Pacers have to keep him happy if the Pacers want to keep competing.
Agreed.
So now we're going to get into the first round in the West. We have the first seeded Lakers against the 8th seeded Grizzlies. This is no doubt Lakers are going to sweep 100%.
I don't know if they'd sweep. I think the Grizzlies could pull out a game just in Memphis. I think with the Grizzlies fans game in there, I think they could pull out a game, but no more than a game. It'll be a 4 or 5 game series.
Mm-hmm. Next, you have the 2 seeded Clippers against the 7th seeded Dallas Mavericks. For me, this is a no-brainer. The Clippers are doing tremendous this year with Kawhi, Paul George. Actually, Paul George is having an off year this year. So I got the Clippers winning in 5.
I agree with that. I think the Clippers definitely win this series. I think what Luka and Kristaps have been able to do has been pretty incredible, but there is just no way they can compete with that Clippers loaded roster. I mean, Paul George,
amazing defensive
Kawhi
roster.
Leonard, Pat Beverly. I think they've just got it. They got the advantage definitely over the Dallas Mavericks there.
Especially we got your favorite player, Montrezl Harrell.
Yeah, we'll discuss him later.
Next, we got the 3rd seeded Nuggets against the 6th seeded Rockets. I got the Nuggets winning this one. I got the Nuggets winning 3-2. We know how James Harden is in the playoffs. We know how Russell Westbrook is in the playoffs. They always choke.
They're going to be the Rockets. Rockets in 6. The Nuggets are a good team, but the Rockets have more. They just are more experienced. They got the playoff atmosphere. The Nuggets really haven't done much, and I think the Rockets have had success in the playoffs. Unfortunately, it's not James Harden that chokes. It's been his teammates. James Harden.
It's 100% James Harden that chokes.
James Harden has consistently.
It's 100%
30.
James. What are you
James
talking
Harden has
about?
consistently put up 30+ points in Game 7s and throughout the playoff series. He has done his part. The problem has been his teammates. His teammates have consistently let him down. Clint Capella has been brutal in playoff games, especially Game 7. He was brutal. And you get a guy like CP3 not playing in Game 7, not contributing. He's had a lot of disadvantages between Harden and Westbrook. I think the two of them would be able to pull it out over guys like Murray and Jokic. I think they just have the experience there, and they'd be too much to handle, especially that 3-point shooting of the Rockets now. They got a lot of 3-and-D players. I think they'd be able to stop the Nuggets.
You know how I feel about James Harden. He always chokes in the playoffs, and it is his fault.
It's not his fault.
It is 100% his fault.
Mm-mm.
Because he just cares about his personal achievements. He does not care about how the Rockets do. And that's why he never makes it deep in the playoffs. And then you have Russell Westbrook, who's another stat patter. They're just not going to work. They're going to fall apart.
They're not stat patters.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
Want to say Russell Westbrook was last year? Sure, he was. This year is a different Rockets team. This is a different team than in the past years. They got rid of different players.
We're talking about the Houston Rockets in the playoffs.
But it's a different team. The only real player that's a contributor from last year left is James Harden, and James Harden consistently put up 30+ points in their playoffs last year. He was a very good player.
He only cares about him putting up 30 points. He doesn't. You could put up 30 points in a loss, and James Harden would be like, I don't care. I got my 30 points. I got my touches.
See, that's why I disagree. I don't think that is true. I think he doesn't actually choke. His teammates let him down. He consistently puts.
It's not. No, it's him. It's 100% him. It is 1,000% him.
But it's not him. Like, go here, ready? You can go back and look at different box scores and stats. You go back and look at the Rockets. Rockets were playing. They were playing the Warriors, Game 7, right? No CP3 though, so it's all left on James Harden. James Harden put up 32 points. That's not good enough, apparently. It's not his fault. he put up 32 points. His team choked. He didn't have anybody. He didn't have his best player there, Chris Paul. How is that James Harden's fault that his best player, second best player, his best teammate
I'm not
can't
saying
show up?
no.
He didn't choke.
I'm not saying it's just James Harden's fault. I'm saying he has a lot to do with it. But I think the Rockets are terribly coached, and I don't think they surround their
They're
team
greatly
with.
coached. They're greatly coached. They have a great system that works. They're going for the 3
Why
and
do they
D
choke in the
players right now.
playoffs all the time?
Why do they choke in the playoffs? They don't choke. Going to a game 7 and losing is not
They
choking.
always choke in the playoffs. James Harden and the Rockets never make it far in the playoffs. They have all this hype around them, and guess what happens? They just choke.
But that's not true. That's what the media wants you to think, but it's not true.
What do you mean? What do you mean? The media loves James Harden. The media wants James Harden to
the
go
media
super far.
hates James
The
Harden.
media
All they talk
loves
about is how
James
they
Harden.
choke. No,
They
not at all.
absolutely adore James Harden.
Not at all.
100%. Every time James Harden scores 40 points in a loss, they're like, oh, yeah, the Rockets lost. But, hey, James Harden dropped 40 points, so it's all good, right?
That's
Come on.
not at all how it works.
Come on.
I mean,
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
no, it's not.
Yes, it
You
is.
put up. You
Yes,
only
it is.
talk about James Harden when he puts up 60-plus points and they win. Other than that, they never talk about James Harden.
Yes, they do. I have seen highlights with James Harden trying to get a triple-double when he's down by like 10 points in garbage time.
It's
just
not
because he
just
wants
James
to get his
Harden's
triple-double.
It's not all James Harden's fault.
Moving on. You got the Jazz and the Thunder. I got the Thunder.
Jazz versus Thunder?
I got the Thunder. I think they've been a tremendous team. They're the underdog. I think Chris Paul is determined. I think they're going to shock the world, and I think they're going to make it to the second round in 6 games.
I really like the Thunder roster, but they're not as good as the Utah Jazz. The Jazz are deeper, they're bigger, they're stronger. They just fit this role better. I mean, the Thunder are still also very young. They don't really have much success in the playoffs. The Jazz, you got Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert, they added Mike Conley. They just have more to their team. They got Joe Ingles, great 3-point shooter. The Jazz are just the better overall team. I just think the Thunder give them a run for their money, though. I think it's going to go 6 games at least. But the Jazz just pull it out, especially with the home court advantage. That helps. Playing in Utah is tough.
I agree. And obviously I'm not as like confident in saying, well, the Lakers are going to beat the Grizzlies as I am in like the Thunder beating the Jazz. I think that series for me could go either way, personally.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So moving on to the semifinals for the East, you have the Bucks playing Miami. Me personally, I have the Bucks winning this in probably 5 games, just because of how dominant the Bucks are.
I think the Heat could definitely. Well, I think the Heat could give them a run for the money. I don't think they would.
Absolutely.
I don't think they can ever beat them in a series. I think it would go 6 games, but I do have the Bucks winning.
Absolutely. Then on the other side, you have the Celtics playing the Raptors. I got to give it to the Raptors.
I'd have the Sixers.
Okay.
I pick the Sixers.
Okay. Well, I personally have the Raptors against the Celtics, and I have the Raptors winning that one. So you would have the Sixers and the Raptors.
Mm-hmm. I'd have the Sixers and Raptors, and it'll be a rematch of last year.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
we do not want to talk about what happened last year in Game 7.
Yes, we're not bringing that up.
We are not going to talk about that.
I think that in a situation like this, I think that really motivates a guy like Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons to be on their best. And I think the loss of Jimmy Butler to the Sixers compared to the loss of Kawhi is nowhere near the same. I think the Sixers would be able to pull it out in 6 games, 6 or 7. It's going to be a great series if they do match up. But I think Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons would be extra motivated for that series. I think they really would be. I think they'd really want to make a statement. They'd really care about that. They really want to make a statement to the league that it's not just that they are still a good team, that they are good up and coming young players that can win in the playoffs, and that shot won't define them and won't split them up.
I don't know. I don't think that if the Sixers were to make it to the second round, I don't think that they could beat the Raptors again. Personally, I just don't see it happening. Like I said, I think they're terribly coached, and I don't think they're playoff ready. With Embiid's injuries, with Ben Simmons' injuries, I just
both healthy now.
Yeah, but
they're both healthy now. They both had time to The Sixers are the team that
But
benefits the most from this break. Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid are both healthy. They both had time off. They're both well rested. The Sixers are gonna be a problem to handle when the play resumes here. I mean, think about it. They did have success at home. They beat the Lakers. They beat the Clippers.
yeah, what about
Had all
on the
this
road when the
success.
Raptors have the home court advantage?
See, that's the thing. They can beat teams on the road. They've done it. They went into Boston and won, and that's a place that they haven't
They've
won
done it what, like
ever. They
twice?
haven't done it. Yeah, they've done it though. There's proof that they can do it, and I think this break is the perfect example of a time where they can get together and look back on film and review, and they can put it to good use and see what they were doing at home compared to on the road that made them so successful. And I think they'll be able to pull it out.
No. Me personally, I don't think Brett Brown would be ready for that.
He was ready for it last year. Coached them to Game 7 against the best team in the league. Basically, he would have put it this way: if that shot doesn't go in, Sixers are NBA champions last year, and Brett Brown's.
You don't know that. You
Everyone's
don't know that they
perspective
would
on
have
Brett
won
Brown
an.
is so different.
You don't know that they would have won an OT.
They had all the momentum.
They had all the momentum, but you don't know that.
Raptors
But
fans were
yeah,
scared. The Raptors players were scared. If that shot doesn't fall, the Sixers have all the momentum.
you just said the other day when we were talking that Kawhi was the closest thing to Jordan and Kobe regarding how bad he
Mhm.
wants to win. Don't you think
He
Kawhi
is.
would have just turned that switch on in overtime and taken that Game 7? I think Kawhi was unstoppable that in 2019.
He was. He was a
I
very
don't
good
think I
player,
don't
but
think
I think the
anything could have stopped
Sixers.
him.
I think the Sixers. Kawhi was tired. Kawhi was definitely tired. I mean, the load management. He had never played that. He played almost every minute of that game. That was the most he's played. He doesn't play that much. They tend to rest him, so I think that was new for him. And he by the end of that game, you could tell he wasn't looking like himself. I think the Sixers would have pulled that out. They were younger. They're more athletic. They would have pulled that out.
I just don't see it. I know
Fine,
this
but
team. I watch this team every night, every time they play. I don't see
so
it.
do I, and they clearly would have.
Yeah, I know you do too, but like I can't see it.
Mhm.
So moving on. So for my Eastern Conference Finals, I have the Bucks and the Raptors, and you have the Sixers and the Bucks, right?
Yep.
Okay. So we're gonna cover the West semifinals, the Lakers and Thunder, but for you it's the Lakers and the Jazz.
Lakers in 5. I'm sure you have the same.
Yeah, I think regardless of whether we have the Jazz or the Thunder, the Lakers are gonna win that series. As
Yeah.
much as I don't know because I was really happy for the Thunder this year, and my take before the season started was that the Thunder were good enough to be an 8th seed, and they exceeded my hot take, which I thought was crazy. Everyone was like, "You're crazy! The Thunder. You don't think Thunder are going to make the
I don't think that
playoffs?"
was a hot take. I don't think that was a hot take at all. The
Some
Thunder were
people
a
thought it was
great
a hot
team.
take. People thought that the Thunder were going to go into complete tank mode, and I was like, "No,
No,
they have a
there was a
good."
difference. If everyone knew if the Thunder kept that roster together, they'd be around a playoff seed. Would they be a 5 seed? No way. Nobody thought that. But a 8 seed, that was definitely reasonable. And I think most
Absolutely.
people would agree with me. If they kept the roster, obviously. If they were trading Gallinari, if they were trading
CP3.
CP3, Steven Adams, if they were trading them away, then clearly they wouldn't have been in that position. But I think if you would have said, and obviously nobody knew at the time, but if you would have said back then that the Thunder would have kept their roster together, people would have said they would have been a playoff team, 7, 8 seed. But nobody would have said they'd be a 5 seed.
I thought some people were kind of on the fence though. Like they didn't really think that they were going to even make the playoffs even with their roster. But it's probably because people see a roster and that doesn't have like a big name. Like sure, Chris Paul is a big name, but obviously he's getting up there in age, and he's not the best point guard in the league anymore. But when you take away Russell Westbrook, you take away Paul George, you take away Carmelo Anthony, and you don't have like a big name and like a franchisee player.
Oh, it was nothing last year.
Yeah, I mean, not to say Carmelo was like a good player last year with the Thunder. I mean, he was terrible, but he's a big name. You know what I mean? He sells tickets because he's
No,
Carmelo
it makes
Anthony.
sense.
Yeah. So on the other side of that bracket, you had the Nuggets winning, right? Or you had the Rockets.
I had the Rockets.
Okay, so you had the Chokers and the Clippers.
Yep, and
Uh,
I'd say that series goes 7 games, but I do think the Clippers pull it out.
I
Kawhi
agree.
is just too much. Kawhi is just insane. I think that defense would be able to. Their best ability is to guard down low, their perimeter defense is insane. You got Paul George, Pat Bev, Kawhi. They can all guard James Harden and Russell Westbrook. So I think that definitely gives them the edge there.
That's the thing about the Clippers. Like going into the season, I knew that they were going to be amazing on defense because not only are they good on the perimeter with Pat Bev, PG, and Kawhi, but you also have really good inside defense with Montrezl Harrell and all those guys. So they're tremendous on defense. So the Western Conference Finals, we both have the Lakers and Clippers.
Yep.
In the Eastern Conference Finals, I have the Bucks and the Raptors, and you have the Bucks and Sixers. Okay, so Bucks and Sixers. Who you got?
I wish I could say the Sixers, but the Bucks are just too much. The depth there is insane, and they build a team around Giannis. And the Sixers, Elton Brand has failed the Sixers. He hasn't been able to build a team around Ben Simmons and Joel. He's building a team that can compete in the 70s, not the 2020s era. So you got to give it to the Bucks here. I think the Bucks win in 6. I think the Sixers can definitely win the 2 at home. They can definitely win a couple games. They'll keep it close. It'll be a very good series, but it will go 6 or 7 games. But the Bucks will pull it out. They just better shooters. That's the difference.
Yeah, and I have the Bucks beating the Raptors too because I just think Giannis and the Bucks are just unstoppable this year. And
the Raptors don't have anybody to slow down Giannis.
Yeah, well, the guy that slowed down Giannis last year is
gone.
Is Kawhi. So
see, the Sixers could at least attempt to slow him down like they did in the Christmas Day game between Embiid, Horford. You get Ben too in there. They at least can put somebody really that can play pretty good defense on him. Nowhere near good enough to stop him, but they can at least slow him down a bit. The Raptors could never do that. Anybody that could do that.
I would agree.
Kawhi.
Yeah, I would agree. There's nobody as tall and as lengthy as Giannis that you can have him guard. Maybe Siakam, but even then.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's funny.
The Sixers are the one team that matches up well against the Bucks. They're the only team. Every other team matches up terribly.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't think anybody else can take them more than 5 games. I think the Bucks would crush them.
And you're talking about all these Sixers problems with with Elton Brand and Brett Brown, is my opinion. I think that's the problem, but that's another subject which we're going to discuss on our future podcast for Philly fans, where it's you, me, and our 2 other friends, Jake and JT, and we talk about all Philly sports. So the Sixers, the Flyers, the Eagles, the Phillies, even the Union. So if you are a Philadelphia sports fan, we would encourage you to stay tuned for that podcast to come out, and should be good. I just wanted to get out of the way, plug that for a sec.
Yep.
So
good idea.
For the Western Conference Finals, it's the Lakers and Clippers, Battle of LA, Staples Center. Who do you have? I know what you're going to say, and I know we disagree. I know it's going to be heated.
I'm ready. The Lakers have more star power, but I just got to give it to the Clippers. I mean, the Lakers don't have the depth. They just have LeBron and AD. That's the 2. And I think between Kawhi and Paul George and the interior defense that you mentioned earlier with Harrell and a couple other guys, they'd be able to slow them down. Whereas after that, there's nothing to do. I mean, if you slow down Kawhi, you still got to deal with Lou Williams, Paul George, Pat Bev.
Which they can do.
So many.
Which they can do. Yes, they could. Yes, they absolutely could. LeBron, AD, Danny Green, Rondo, Dwight Howard, DeMarcus Cousins. Danny Green is amazing. He's a great 3-and-D player.
He has been terrible this year. He's nowhere near the level he was on last year.
All right, but he's a decent defender, decent shooter.
Yeah, but you're going to tell me he's going to shut down Paul George. Lakers do not have
JaVale McGee, Dwight Howard.
The Lakers do not have the depth that the Clippers have. It's not even close.
Yeah, maybe they don't have the depth as much as the Clippers, but they can lock them down. And you're forgetting about
Marcus Morris. And you're forgetting about Morris, Lou Williams, Reggie Jackson, Patrick Beverley, Joakim Noah, Eva.
You're forgetting
Zubac, however you pronounce it. JaMychal Green, Landry Shamet. All that depth. All those players are arguably would be the 3rd best player on the Lakers. 3rd best player on the Lakers, outside of AD and LeBron.
Landry Shamet.
Yeah, I would honestly take him as probably the 3rd best player on the Lakers if you put him on there right now. You're going to tell me a washed-up Rajon Rondo?
What about Dwight Howard?
Dwight Howard? What are we, 2008?
He's having a good comeback year. He's having a good year.
Like the comeback
He's having a good year.
It's not good. He is not playing well.
He's having a
just
good year.
eh.
He's having a solid year,
He's
solid than when he was in Washington.
well, yeah. Anyway, he could do better than that. You put me in the NBA, I'll put up
And
better
also,
stats than he did in Washington.
you're forgetting about Zero Dark 30.
He's not
Playoff
good.
mode, King James,
Yes,
unstoppable in the
on Kawhi
playoffs.
Leonard, on the best defender in the NBA.
Gonna lock him down. LeBron's gonna lock Kawhi down. LeBron's gonna dunk
No,
all
he
over
is not.
Kawhi.
LeBron
LeBron's
doesn't
gonna
play
score
defense
all over
anymore.
Kawhi and Paul George. This is playoff LeBron. Fine wine. 35 years old. Lakers in the finals.
That's your LeBron
Absolutely.
bias talking.
No,
The
it's
only
not
reason
biased
the
at all.
Clippers don't
It's
have a
bi- it's
better
not. It
record
is
than the
not.
Lakers,
That is not
the only
biased
reason
at
the
all.
Clippers don't have a better record is because
no.
they load manage their players because they're smart.
No.
They don't
You-
try
no,
and
no,
play every regular season game like
it's
the
it's
Lakers.
not bias. It is just witnessing
Mhm.
greatness.
Bias.
We witness playoff LeBron every year. Been to the
Mhm.
finals so many times in a row. People don't even know how many times he's been in the finals in a row because he's been there so many times. The only reason he wasn't in the finals last year is because he was hurt. But this
Yeah, he
year
was
he's
hurt.
healthy. This year he's got AD. This year he has depth in Rondo and Danny Green and Dwight Howard
You're
and
giving
DeMarcus
me
Cousins
players
and
that are
JaVale McGee.
scrubs. These players that you're listing, look, Kawhi Leonard's better than them. Paul George is better. Marcus Morris, I'll take over them. Montrezl Harrell, again, I hate him, but I'd take him over him. Lou Williams, take over them. Reggie Jackson, I'd take over them. Patrick Beverly, take over them. That's what I named 7, 8 players right there. That's all better than the Lakers.
in your
outside their
opinion, you
top
would take
two.
him over them, but we're
Because
forgetting
they're
how many.
better players.
We're also forgetting how many minutes does LeBron play in the playoffs in a playoff game on average? Probably what, like 36 minutes, 35 minutes. He plays. He's
Same
another.
as Kawhi, same as Paul George.
This is the Lakers' year. This is Ron's year to win another ring.
Nope,
Absolutely.
not happening.
Lakers and Bucks in the finals.
It will go
and
6.
the Lakers.
It will be a good series.
It'll be
It
I'll agree with you there that
will go deep.
That it'll be.
I
6
think
or
the
7
Clippers
games.
are in a disadvantage as though it will be basically a Lakers home game every game, which will hurt them. But that's the only advantage the Lakers have. Outside of that, they have. I mean, think about it. The Clippers are the best player in the series. They have the more depth. They have better shooters, better defense.
In your opinion.
It's statistically proven that it's all better.
In your opinion. Yeah, but we're forgetting about Zero Dark 30. I cannot stress that enough. Playoff LeBron is unstoppable. The king.
You're a brown sexual.
The king.
Mm-mm.
So I got the Lakers and the Bucks in the finals. And I got the Lakers obviously winning. Lakers will destroy the Bucks. Lakers are going to destroy the Bucks in the finals. Lakers 2020 champions.
Clippers 2020 champions.
Absolutely not.
Well, at least you both agree it won't be the Bucks.
No, I don't think the Bucks. Yeah, I think the Bucks can.
Kawhi would lock up Giannis. Kawhi. If it were to be, you have to admit, if it were Clippers Bucks, Kawhi would lock up Giannis just like he did when they played last year in the Eastern Conference Finals. And this year's Clippers team is a much deeper team than last year's Raptors team.
Absolutely.
So I think when you compare it, if my matchup was correct of Clippers Bucks, I think it would be Clippers in 6, maybe 5.
No, I would agree. I think the Bucks would lose in 5. Honestly, I really do not think. I think that the thing with the Bucks is, obviously they do well in the regular season. They do well in the first and second round of the playoffs. But every time that they get to like the big dance, the big show, they just fall apart. And you saw that last year when they made to the conference finals. They completely got obliterated by Kawhi and the Raptors. It wasn't even a competition. They lost in 5.
I agree.
So if it were the Clippers and the Bucks, obviously I would choose the Clippers. If it were the Lakers and the Bucks, I would choose the Lakers.
Yeah, both agree on that.
Okay, so I have the Lakers as the 2020 champions. How about this? We'll bet. I'll wear a James Harden jersey. If you're right, if the Clippers win, I will wear a James Harden jersey on this show whenever basketball comes back. Okay. But you have to wear a LeBron jersey.
All right.
And you have to purchase it yourself.
Okay.
I will wear a James Harden stat pattern jersey.
Okay. The Lakers won't win this year, so
they absolutely will. I'm so confident in the Lakers, dude. I've been betting with people like, dude, if the Lakers don't win, I'll take you to a baseball game. If the Lakers don't win, I'll do this and that.
Yeah, I know you did that. I was in that group.
I'm so confident in the Lakers this season. They're absolutely.
I know, and you are so wrong. I feel so bad for you.
No. I feel bad for you, not witnessing greatness.
No,
because LeBron's 35, and we don't have a lot of LeBron left. We have maybe 5 years left of LeBron.
Hmm.
And you're not going to
And
witness
sadly,
that.
he won't be in the finals ever again.
And you're not going to witness, and you're going to be like, damn, I wish I would have witnessed that greatness. I
I
wish I would
did
have
witness it.
appreciated what was
I
right in front of me.
appreciated it for the past, what was it, 8 years now? But it's over. His time's done. Next
You're,
year's going to be
you're wrong. And
it's
then,
going to be KD, Giannis, and Kawhi at the top of the league next year. You won't even be thinking about LeBron in the
no,
top
no,
three.
you will be thinking about LeBron. LeBron's still got another 5 years left.
Mm-mm.
Absolutely.
Nope.
Absolutely. But we're done with that. So Justin's pick is the Clippers. Mine's the Lakers to win the 2020 NBA championship. Here's the thing. The Clippers aren't a bad take.
No, I
You
think
could
we both
definitely
have
argue
good
that. Like
good
I
chance.
would completely agree. And honestly, before the season started, my pick for the NBA champion was the Clippers. But then I
Mhm.
saw how the
Before the
Lakers
season
were doing.
started, my prediction was Clippers Sixers championship, but
Mine was
obviously I
too,
don't
but
think
then
that
the
will
Sixers
happen.
fell apart, and whatever problem that was, which we're not going to get into because it would take us 2 hours to just complain because this was
Hmm.
such a terrible season for the Sixers. But if you listen to our podcast for Philly fans, we'll tell you. Stay tuned for that because we do not have an episode because there's really not anything going on in Philly sports.
Yep.
So
All right.
the next topic we wanted to get into was free agency. And we wanted to go over some big names of free agency, talk to about what the best move is for those players, and to see what we think would happen. To kick it off, I wanted to talk about Justin's favorite player, Montrezl Harrell. For the people that do not know the story, I want you to tell them again. I'm putting you on the spot right here. I want you to tell me your beef
All
with
right.
Montrezl Harrell.
I can bring it up. So
I don't want you to read it
I
off because we have to keep this PG.
yeah. So let's just say I sent him a direct message and he replied back, and it was not very nice. It was
I
a
knew a little bit of an
very it
altercation with him.
yeah, verbal. It wasn't a. It's not one I would discuss over here. The words exchanged were not very pleasant, and yeah. So
Well, what was the
he
con? Can
blocked me.
you can at least explain the
Let me bring it up
context?
here. Let me bring it up here. I'll bring it up. Hold
Yeah,
on.
well, yeah.
Give me a
Honestly,
minute.
you could read it, and you could just read it and like bleep it
That's
out.
what I'm. That's what I'm doing right now. I just gotta find it first. It was a while ago.
I didn't think it would actually respond to you. That was funny.
Yeah, I know. I had
That was
no
really
idea he would
that was
respond.
hilarious.
You know,
You're-
sometimes when you're angry, you just kind of type some things,
Yeah, I
get
mean
it off your chest.
the Sixers lost. I don't know if you're like me, but when the Sixers lose or like when any of my teams lose, like it just ruins my whole day.
I'm the
Just weird.
exact same way. It should be right around here. Wait, what?
Montrezl Harrell. If you can't find the text, just
Um, it should have been in here somewhere.
I will find it later. It's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's right here. So I said,
Oh,
"You're
uh,
trash. If we had Embiid and Simmons, we would have dogged you guys. You only went off because Embiid wasn't in, and the refs were giving you every call. You had 41 free throws to our 20, and if the refs would have called it fair, we would have beat you without our two-star players." And he said, "Bruh, you're a beat. Shut the beep up, you bums. Lost to the Cavs without them too as well, man. Y'all can't win with injuries. Just trash. Suck a beep, you beep ass beep." And then I said, "Remember what happened when we played in Philly? We kicked your beep," and then he blocked me. So that's the story.
So Justin and Montrezl Harrell will not speak again unless he wants to be a guest on the show.
Yeah, maybe he wants to
Montrezl Harrell, if you're
hash
watching
out
it, if you're listening, and you want to squash the beef, want to come on the show, talk to us, we're more than
anytime.
welcome. Squash
Always
the beef.
welcome on here.
Absolutely.
Just don't come to the Sixers. Don't sign with the Sixers this offseason. That's my only request.
Oh, I wouldn't want that either. But Montrezl Harrell's going to be a free agent. This year he averaged 18.6 points per game, 7.1 rebounds per game, and 1.7 assists per game. The best move for him, in my opinion, test the market. No, test the market. Because he had a breakout year. He's a candidate for most improved player. So I feel like it's a team, like a tanking team, that needs a center could throw him a lot of money.
No, they could. I don't disagree with that, but I think his best option is to stay in LA if they'll give him the money. If they give him the money, why not? You're on a championship contender. You're playing well. You'll get your minutes. They don't really have any other big man. He gets his money. I don't see
Yeah,
why he would leave. There's no reason to leave.
there's really
If
no
they pay
wrong.
him, there's no reason to leave.
Yeah, there's really no wrong move for him because
Mm-hmm.
you stay in LA, you're still contending. You leave for a team that needs a center, like for example, the Pelicans, for example. They could use a center. Let's say he signs with the Pelicans. We're a young and upcoming team. You get paid. Sure, you might not be a contender, but which I think the Pelicans will probably be a contender in the near future because of just the potential that they have. They have amazing potential. And if you add Montrezl Harrell to that mix, you got even more potential. So there's really no wrong move for Montrezl Harrell. Yeah. So next player is Otto Porter. Otto Porter averaged 11.9 points per game, 3.4 rebounds, and 1.8 assists. What do you think the best move for Otto Porter is?
That's a difficult one. I mean, he's been dealing with some injuries, so it's kind of tough for him to test the market. He hasn't put up the best numbers. He put up better numbers when he was with the Wizards. I think he just needs to sign a 1-year deal somewhere where he'll get minutes. So probably on more of a tanking team here, maybe like a
Knicks.
Yeah, maybe not even the Knicks, maybe like a Cavs team or a bottom feeder.
Cavaliers would be a good fit because they could use a small forward.
They don't have a small forward. He could fit right in there with their two young up and coming point guards and Kevin Love and Andre Drummond. I think he could fit in there well. Some team where he'll get minutes and will be able to put up numbers would be a good spot for him. Definitely, I wouldn't recommend going back to Chicago though. He clearly didn't seem to fit well.
Chicago is so horribly just managed and coached. That's just if you get drafted to Chicago, that's just your career is just not going to turn out good unless you're Zach LaVine. But they traded Zach LaVine, so
yeah.
Next player is Serge Ibaka. Serge Ibaka had a good year, and I was shocked to see how good he was this year. 16 points a game, 8.3 rebounds, and 1.5 assists.
Killing it for the Raptors.
I think the best move for him is just to test the market, or you could stay with Toronto. Again, it's kind of like a win-win situation, like Montrezl Harrell.
Yeah, he's getting the minutes, putting up numbers, and they're winning. So, although he did get a lot of extra minutes this year because Marc Gasol was injured. So we'll see if he came back and Marc Gasol comes back. If they're both there, his minutes may decrease if they give Marc Gasol the favor, which I think he's the better player. So we'll see, but I don't think there's a wrong choice for him either.
Next, you have DeMar DeRozan. DeMar DeRozan's averaging 22.2 points a game, 5.6 rebounds a game, and 5.6 assists per game. I believe DeMar DeRozan's on a player option. So he's not like a restricted free agent, but he's on a player option, so he could opt out of that. Best move, in my opinion, is to stay with Toronto. Or not Toronto, but stay with San Antonio.
I disagree.
You disagree? Why?
It's his turn to get his ring. He hasn't gotten his ring yet.
So what? He should go
Time
back
for him to go ring chasing. No, he should go.
No, I think
I think Toronto wouldn't be a bad spot.
You don't think San Antonio?
I think he should go. I don't think San Antonio. San Antonio is not contending right now. He needs to go somewhere where he can contribute and win a ring. I mean, he got traded unfairly from Toronto. I mean, he was a sacrifice for them to win the championship, but now it's his turn to go somewhere and win the championship. I think he goes to a contender. I personally, I like him going to the Mavericks. I think him, Luka, and Kristaps would be a good big three.
That'd be a very good defensive team.
I like that move.
On defense, though, that team would be tremendous.
But
here's the thing. I feel like his decision to stay with San Antonio could depend on what Coach Pop does. If Coach Pop leaves or he retires, I don't think DeMar DeRozan will want to stay because that's how.
No way.
Because that's the only interest players have in playing in San Antonio is they want to play with Coach Pop. So that'll be interesting to see. Me personally, I don't think he's going to leave just because DeMar DeRozan is a very loyal player. You saw how loyal he was with Toronto, and I feel bad,
He
honestly.
got burned by being
Yeah,
so loyal there. So
he,
I think it's his turn to go get a ring.
absolutely, I agree. Next player we're going to get into is Eric Gordon. Eric Gordon averaged 14.5 points a game, 1.9 rebounds, and 1.5 assists. Um, here's the thing. I don't think he should stay in Houston. I think, honestly, he can get more minutes somewhere else and he can get more money somewhere else. So that's just my personal opinion. I know you're a James Harden guy, Rockets guy. I know you're not a Rockets fan, but you like James Harden for whatever reason. What do you think about Eric Gordon?
Eric Gordon's another tough one. I mean, he's been very injury prone. He's not very durable. He's been hurt. He's gotten the minutes. He's a good 3-and-D player. He fits their system. It's a tough one. I don't know. I think he'd be welcome back with the Rockets. I think he'd be a good player, but I
I
think
don't
he should
think
test the market.
I don't think Houston's going to throw him a lot of money though.
Mm, I don't think they will
Just
either. I mean, they do have an open slot now. I mean, they got rid of Capella and brought in Covington, and Covington's contract is not nearly the same. So
the Rockets need to just get a center. They don't even have a center on the roster. Robert
I
Covington
disagree.
plays.
They don't need a center. PJ Tucker's their center, and I actually like it. I
PJ
like their
Tucker's
small
six
ball
seven.
formula, and it worked. They beat the Lakers in
And
LA.
that's another thing. We were talking about the Rockets in the playoffs. That's not going to work if they don't have a center. If they don't have a true center, they're just going to completely fall
When their
apart.
shots are falling, they don't need a center. I mean, especially when they're
But
playing
their
like a
shots
team like
aren't falling. And
The
when
Lakers
after
aren't
they
a
traded
big
Clint
team.
Capella, they were struggling. They
They
were
were
struggling
winning.
after. Yes, they
They were
were.
winning.
No,
They
they were
were winning
struggling.
games.
They were
No,
so
they
inconsistent.
were
Yeah.
winning. They were
Oh.
winning most of their games. They did go through a couple games struggle there when they were hurt. They had a lot of players get hurt, and they were down to maybe like 8, 9 guys on the roster at one point. But they've been pretty good. They've been putting up consistent numbers.
Moving on, because I don't want to get into ranting about the Rockets again. Gordon Hayward, 17.3 points a game, 6.5 rebounds per game, 4.1 assists per game. Best move, in my opinion, is to stay with Boston. You're really not going to get any offers anywhere else just because you're injury prone and you're not how you were in Utah, which is what he was expecting to be, what people were expecting him to be like. What are your thoughts?
Nope. Get out of Boston. Do whatever he needs to do whatever he can to get out of there. His minutes are only going to decrease with between Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. Gordon Hayward's minutes are decreasing game by game as those two young stars grow. I mean, he just needs to get out of there. He's not eventually he won't be playing many minutes, and I think he just needs to go somewhere where he'll get more minutes. I really like him fitting in with the Dallas Mavericks. I think the Mavericks are looking for that third star to complement Luka and Kristaps. So if they can't get DeMar DeRozan, I really like Gordon Hayward in Dallas.
Yeah, I could see that. I think Gordon Hayward's career is just going to tank from here on out because you can just see, you had him in Utah, then you had him in Boston, which it wasn't his fault because he was injured, but his game just kept decreasing.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think teams are going to throw him a lot of money like Boston did.
No,
Which
he certainly won't get a big contract.
as a Sixers fan, it was funny. Well, not funny, but it was like, Gordon Hayward got hurt, and I never wish injuries upon anybody.
Mm-hmm.
I would never wish that, but worked out well for the Sixers because he didn't live up to the expectations of his contract. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Like I said, I'm not wishing injuries upon anybody, but I'm just saying, as a Sixers fan, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Next, we'll get into Andre Drummond. Andre Drummond, he got traded to Cleveland from Detroit. This season, he averaged 17.7 points a game, 15.2 rebounds per game, and 2.7 assists per game. I think he should get the heck out of Cleveland. I don't think
I disagree.
I don't think he should stay with Cleveland one more second.
I think I don't mind his fit in Cleveland. I think you get Kevin Love as the floor spacer between their two young point guards. I like that fit. I think if Cleveland's willing to throw him the money he wants, I think there's no reason for him to leave.
Yeah, but like I just feel like he wasted his career in Detroit, and I feel like with the Cavs tanking, he's only going to waste his career there, and he can go out and get a bigger contract somewhere else because he's Andre Drummond. He's a good player. He's an average and a double double.
He's never proved anything though. He's putting up empty stats. He's like a Kemba Walker or Trey Young right now.
Well, that's the
I
thing. If
like
you
them
get
both, but he's putting up empty numbers. So I don't think personally, I don't think Andre Drummond deserves the money he'd get. So I think he should take the money wherever he can get it. Because I don't think he's that great of a player. I think he's pretty overrated.
well, that's the thing. Like I think if he leaves, that'll kind of prove what player he is, and you'll
But
see.
I think the Cavs team will be better next year. I think they're a playoff contender. I think they are a bottom 8 through 6 seed with a healthy team next year. I think they could, especially if they sign a guy like Otto Porter. I think they could be a decent team.
Yeah, I'll agree with you if Colin Sexton progresses.
You got Sexton, Darius Garland. You're gonna have a decent
They have
draft pick this
potential.
year. You
Larry
get Kevin
Nance.
Love, Larry Nance. They have a decent team there. If everyone can stay healthy and they can get it together, I think they are a playoff team next year if they keep Drummond too.
Definitely. Next up, we got Mike Conley. Mike Conley averaged 13.8 points a game, 3.2 rebounds per game, 4.3 assists per game. I think Mike Conley's fine in Utah. I think that backcourt is insane. Mike Conley and Donovan Mitchell, and then you have Rudy Gobert. You have Joe Ingles for shooting. I think that's a tremendous team.
He needs to do whatever he can to get out of Utah.
What?
His career has gone down the drain.
Are you
Since
kidding?
He got there. Have you looked at his numbers? He's averaging
14, 3, and 4. That's solid.
No, it's not solid. It's just okay. And for him, that is not good. Those are not good numbers for Mike Conley. I mean,
well, he's getting less touches because Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert get the ball more.
He dropped 7 points. He's losing 7 points on his points per game. He's shooting 3% worse. He's shooting.
But this is when he was in Memphis. But this
less
is when
rebounds. He's averaging 2 less assists.
This is when he was in Memphis.
He's averaging less steals. He's averaging less block. Like all his stats have gone down since he's gotten there. And I think because
he was playing for Memphis. He was playing for a tanking team.
He needs to go ring chase. He needs to go get his ring.
That's ridiculous.
He's not going anywhere in Utah. I don't really like Utah.
They're going to make a deep playoff run.
They aren't. They can beat the Thunder, but they're no more than a second round exit. They're not that deep.
Well,
they have a good roster, but they aren't good enough to compete in that West.
Moving on. That's ridiculous. They're going to make a deep playoff run, Utah.
No, they're not. You literally just said they're getting upset.
Yeah, but that's farther than he ever got in Memphis.
You just said they're making a deep run, but earlier didn't you just predict the Thunder to upset them in the first round?
When I meant
Yeah, you did. I think you did.
You just twisted my words, but whatever.
No, that's not twisting your words. Who did you predict?
No. I didn't mean deep playoff run. I just think he's going to get farther in Utah than he would in Memphis.
Yeah, because he was the only player on Memphis.
Well, that's why his stats went down, because they were empty stats. Because he was playing for Memphis. He was playing for a tanking team.
Yeah, but even when Memphis was good. Last year they weren't good, but they were good in the past couple years back when they had like some better players there. So I mean, he did put up good numbers on contending team. And this team, when you have Donovan Mitchell taking 25 shots a game, you're not going that far.
I think Mike Conley and Donovan Mitchell pair up well.
Not at all.
Moving on, Draymond Green. Draymond Green is averaging a triple single, 8 points a game, 6.2 rebounds a game, and 6.2 assists per game. Look, if you disagree with this, you're crazy. He's got to stay in Golden State if he wants to win. If he wants to win, he's got to stay in Golden State. He would never be a number one guy, and you saw it with Steph Curry out, with Klay Thompson out. Draymond Green was the number one guy. Obviously, he didn't fill or meet those expectations because he's averaging a triple single.
I agree with that. I mean, Draymond Green, I think this year he'll go back to his old Draymond Green. I think he'll go back to the Draymond Green of 2015. I think
because
you'll see more flashes of that. He doesn't have KD there anymore. I think once KD came, his numbers went down. And I think luckily for the Warriors, they'll be able to get Draymond Green on a cheaper deal than what I think he's actually worth.
Hmm.
And because of that, like I don't think anybody's going to really want to pay for Draymond Green, and I think that will help Draymond Green. I
I
mean,
just
I
don't.
think it will help the Warriors. I think they'll re-sign Draymond Green.
Right. I don't think Draymond Green's like a number one guy. Like I don't think you look at Draymond Green and see that he's like the number one guy that can like be like the X factor for your team.
No,
And you
nobody.
saw it,
I
yeah.
mean,
Like I said, you saw it this year. He's terrible on his own, absolutely
I
terrible.
agree.
But when you pair him with superstars, he does better. So I
Yeah.
think Draymond Green's terribly overrated.
I
Terribly
agree.
overrated. He's a good defender. He's a obviously, but I just think he's overrated, and I think people blow him out of proportion. That's my opinion. Lastly, you have Anthony Davis, 26.7 points a game, 9.4 rebounds, and 3.1 assists. There's no point in really debating this because I think he's going to stay a Laker. Who doesn't want to play with LeBron? I don't see any reason why he would leave LA.
I could see him leaving.
I couldn't see him. Maybe if the Lakers just get upset and they just get completely crap the bed. Maybe, but I doubt that Anthony Davis would want to leave the Lakers. I'm sorry.
I
That's
got a
just
shocker. I got a shocker for you. Anthony Davis will sign with the Chicago Bulls. You heard it. Yep.
what is this, like your 2K My League team or something?
No, I think he goes home. I think he goes home to his hometown team. I think he wants to go play
I
for them
doubt it.
eventually in his
There's no way
career.
he's leaving LA.
I think he could, especially if he wins a ring. I could see it.
If he wins a ring, you think he'll leave?
Kawhi did it. He won a ring. He got his ring. Now he can go play. He'll put up better stats when he's with Chicago. He'll be the star. He gets to play. He gets to go back home. He gets to play for his hometown team. Gets to be that Michael Jordan, Derrick Rose
No.
figure for his
It'll be the
hometown.
exact same situation as New Orleans because how horribly managed the Chicago Bulls are. They're not going to surround him with players. They're just like New Orleans did.
I don't think he really cares about that. He got his ring. He doesn't need multiple rings.
He cares. He cares. He'll definitely care.
Don't be shocked if he left the Lakers for the Bulls. Don't be shocked.
I will be shocked. I will be very shocked if he leaves.
Telling you right now, don't be shocked. It's my hot take for this offseason.
That is a very hot take. If it's right, then more power to you. I just don't see it personally.
We'll see.
All right. Well, we definitely covered a lot. Definitely covered a lot about the future of the NBA, our predictions. We hope you enjoyed. We appreciate you tuning in. And as always, thank you for watching and stay safe.
Thank you.
Take care.